This is The Download from Sounds Profitable, the most important news from this week and why it matters to people in the business of podcasting. I'm Gavin Gaddis, in for Manuela Bedoya.
And I'm Shreya Sharma.
The Download is brought to you by Magellan AI. Track the trends in spend, ad load, podcasts on YouTube, and more with Magellan AI's advertising benchmark for Q2. Available now. You can find a link in the description or visit magellan.ai. This week, NPR and Edison Research published the 5th spoken word audio report, YouTube debuts AI governance policies, Spotify partners with TikTok, and lack of representation leads to ad disengagement. Let's get started. This Wednesday from Brad Hill at Rain News. YouTube has recently announced a new initiative to deal with videos altered or generated wholesale by deepfake/AI-powered tools. A new label has been created that will denote a video as artificial or synthetic in nature in the description panel. If the topic of the video is particularly sensitive, the label will appear on the video itself. If a synthetically created video is deemed to be harmful, such as one that shows realistic violence for the purpose of shocking or disgusting viewers, it will be removed outright. YouTube has also promised a future update to its reporting system that will allow users to report a video that is using AI-generated content to imitate identifiable individuals. Something for podcasting to keep in mind as the industry grows its presence on YouTube. With it becoming steadily easier and more affordable to access apps that can fully synthesize audio, the question is now raised, will we see similar anti-deepfake policies put into place on podcast apps?
Last Thursday from Brad Hill at Rain News. The 5th annual spoken word audio report from NPR and Edison Research has arrived. This year's edition is built from a nationwide survey of over 4,100 people aged 13 and up. Highlights include 48% of respondents saying they listen to spoken word audio in some form on a daily basis, an increase of 2 percentage points from last year, and a record high for the report. Also, for the first time in the study's history, mobile devices have overtaken AM/FM radio receivers as the top way people listen to spoken word content on a daily basis. This year, they scored 39% and 35% respectively. Additionally, podcasts have now grown to over a third of daily time spent listening to spoken word at 36%. When respondents are listening at home, that podcast percentage jumps to 40%.
This Wednesday from Bo Jackson on PodPod. The new Q3 report from Insights Accelerated, built from surveys and search trends, finds 57% of UK residents say they disengage from media and ads if they felt they were unrepresentative. When filtered for specific communities, the numbers grow higher, such as 76% disengagement from neurodivergent people and 79% from Black, Asian, and minority ethnic individuals surveyed. The main reason given was either lack of representation or negative portrayal, while the second most common reason given was inauthentic representation, effectively money left on the table for advertisers. Meanwhile, as covered in Ad Exchanger this week, Insider Intelligence predicts Hispanic and Latinx purchasing power is expected to hit $2.6 billion by 2025. By then, the demographic is expected to make up 20% of the U.S. population. Unfortunately, as reinforced by data validation company TruthSet, estimates expect 4 in 10 U.S. Hispanics are not accounted for in third-party datasets. Televisa Univision's head of production management, speaking at Advertising Week New York last month, recounted a national campaign run for a brand client that served roughly 70% of its impressions to non-Hispanic households. One example given of how this can happen is data brokers categorizing audiences based on surname, despite Spanish surnames being present in many other demographics across the country. Time and time again, research shows advertisement is most effective when it meets its audiences where they're at and provides an authentic representation of that audience. Implementing first-party data and delegating third-party to a supplementary role would help create more accurate delivery for future, hopefully authentic, campaigns.
This Tuesday from Spotify. The music streaming service has announced an integration with short-form social video platform TikTok. For those who have not used TikTok, one of the platform's main features is the ability to choose a sound, usually a segment of a song, to overdub or replace audio when filming a video. In recent years, Songs that become viral sounds on TikTok receive what's known as the TikTok bump in their Spotify analytics as TikTok users search for the song and listen to it on Spotify. Now, with formal integration into TikTok, the so-called bump will likely be more pronounced as the song discovery process has been streamlined. While TikTok's podcast integration has not been fully released, this new Spotify partnership bodes well. If the future TikTok podcasting tools include a way to make TikTok sounds out of podcast clips that can then directly link to the show on Spotify, TikTok becomes even more of a no-brainer for podcast promotion.
Finally, it's time for our quick hits. These are articles that didn't quite make the cut for today's episode, but they're worth including in your weekend reading. This week, Spotify's podcast and audiobook discovery will get a boost from Google Cloud's AI from Amrita Halit. Google Cloud's large language models will be used to scan all podcasts and audiobooks on Spotify to improve metadata and discoverability. Podcasting Lessons from Dogs by Tom Webster. This week, Tom reflects on why podcasts with multiple hosts need an abbot to their Costello, a traffic cop to direct the flow of conversation when need be. How I Got 10 Times YouTube Subscribers by Adding Video to My Podcast by Ashley Hamer. A step-by-step account of Hamer adding video production to her existing podcast, Taboo Science, and how optimizing her YouTube channel boosted YouTube algorithm attention. Sound You Can See, Podcasting's Video Dilemma. On Wednesday, December 13th, Sounds Profitable will debut their latest study, which dives into consumer perceptions of podcasts on video and how they continue to drive the future of this medium. Global Signs exclusive podcast distribution and licensing deal with iHeartMedia by Reem Makari. iHeartMedia podcasts will be distributed on the Global Media app in the UK and Ireland, while Global Podcasts will be distributed in the US on iHeartRadio's app along with iHeartMedia monetization. And finally, Triton's podcast ranker for October 2023. 48 Hours from Paramount climbs up 2 spots to enter the top 10 in 9th place, pushing Conan Needs a Friend down to number 10. And that was The Download, brought to you by Sounds Profitable. I know we went through today's stories fast, so be sure to check out the links to every article mentioned right in your podcast listening app or on soundsprofitable.com. And thank you for sticking with us while we bring you the top stories you might have missed from the past week. I'm Gavin Gaddis.
And I'm Shreya Sharma. Our producers are Brian Barletta, Gavin Gaddis, and Tom Webster. Special thanks to Art19 for hosting The Download. And thanks to you for joining us. Robot?
Download complete.